Welcome to the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast on the We Are Libertarians Network. I'm your host, Jeremiah Morrill, and as always, I'm joined by our co-host, Mr. Dakota Davis.
Hey, how's it going, Jeremiah?
It's a great day.
It's a great day to be alive.
It's a great day to be alive and living in central Indiana, as Dave Wilson used to say. Our show is about our lives in rural Indiana. It's a show about folks who are involved in politics. We promise that our episodes are going to be a fun and an easy listen. We interview people who are influencers, elected officials, political experts, and folks we just find interesting. On camera right, my left, is Mr. Kade Koger, journalist.
How we doing, guys?
Glad to have you here, man.
Good to be here.
So we'll get into something here in a minute, but you were the eyes and ears of the entire county this week.
Yeah.
and you were treated like a journalist in the Trump era, man. You were treated like the media, just run off and beaten down. And on the other side of the room, we have a new friend of the show. It's Jon Kindred. Jon is a realtor here in town. And male model. We established that a minute ago. He doesn't do it anymore, but apparently he may have talked your girlfriend into buying you a sweater or something at some point.
Hollister was a very short-term thing for me.
But it's on the bio. It's written in the permanent record.
I'm going to make a note to remove that.
Yeah, take that down. Not helping me on the LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So what's going on, Dakota? This is episode 72, I guess.
72. I can't believe it.
Is it like their third time we've had episode 72? Or are we back on track?
Second time.
Yeah,
we thought we had episode 72 last week, but I guess that whenever you're the big time like we are, you just get things mixed around.
So this is the legitimate 72 then?
Yes,
Okay.
This is legitimately episode number 72. And we had a busy week this week, Jeremiah.
We did.
It was all over the place, man.
We got to see each other during the week for the first time in ages.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we both worked at Moreland Fair yesterday. Tuesday, I worked at the Moreland Fair as well, and I got the chance to talk to Jon out there.
So
yeah, it was a busy week, but it was a fun week, good week always. Seeing everybody at the Moreland Fair, I got to see some listeners of the show come up and talk to us and get pictures taken. So that was neat. That's always awesome to meet people that listen to you.
You go through life not knowing who anybody is, and then you do a podcast for about a year and a half, and then all of a sudden everybody knows who you are, and you're going,
"Yep,
boy, I got to remember who the heck this is." I had Sarah with me, though. It was a great trick, though, because I was like, let me introduce you to my new wife, and I'd introduce Sarah, and then they would say their name, and then that would give me the trigger,
Smart.
Jon. Mm-hmm. I told Sarah next year I'll need a new wife for that to work again, and she was not very supportive of the plan, but...
She didn't think that joke was as funny as you did?
No, but I was very proud of myself.
We also had the Planning Commission meeting. You touched on that for a minute. Kade was out there. He was videotaping since we had things going on. You had on your candidate hat.
I did. I went. I literally went to the podium at one point, probably about the 2.5 hour mark in the meeting. I'm like, I'm Jeremiah Morrill. I live in Henry Township. I don't know if I'm here as a reporter, a candidate, or what I am at the moment, but here I am. I'm me.
You pulled some laughs from the room. Was that intentional?
I did. I literally stole a line from from a listener and friend, Pat Bremer, who's a buddy in Indianapolis, lives over in Speedway. Pat and Speedway on the John Andretti message board. That's how we met 15 years ago. And he saw the picture and gave me the Jimmy Chitwood line that I used and got the crowd laughing until I angered them all.
Yeah, so you did pull 2 laughs, and one was intentional. The other one was not.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Apparently,
you were trying to make peace, and...
there was no peace in the valley.
There were pitchforks and torches, and you just don't make peace with people with pitchforks and torches.
How dare you have a reasonable thought?
Kade Koger got attacked outside.
I wouldn't call. I was more well received than I wasn't. I would say that. There were a lot of people that came up and thanked us for being there. So.
I just went and was going with the whole give peace a chance thing, and they're like, no, not today.
Yeah,
it's not dead yet, and we'll keep flogging the dead horse until it's dead. So anyway,
you don't want it to be dead yet. That's not what we want. This is good content for us.
I would so happily trade this for.
Our new logo has a windmill in it now, so we're on this horse.
Has that come up as an issue yet?
And someone asked about it one time. I just said that it was. We've talked about it so much on the show that I couldn't not do it.
It's a permanent fixture. So we did cover the meeting. If you guys are interested, there are 3 individual videos: part 1, part 2, and part 3. because that was just logical.
Yep.
And those are on our Facebook page. You can go back and watch those, catch any part of it. We brought out our big fancy Zoom H6 and did the best we could with the audio. I've been told that the county commissioners and the county council are working on the audio in that room, and at some point they'll come up with some microphones that work when you're more than a quarter inch away from the microphone, and people will be able to speak into them, and you'll actually hear something in the room, and we'll have better audio. But until then, crank it all the way up, get some headphones, and get the popcorn and enjoy.
I think that the last meeting that I was at out there for a council meeting that was brought up by Mr. Steve Duggar, Councilman Steve Duggar, and he mentioned getting some changes to the audio and putting up some sound absorbing fixtures on the walls and on the ceiling.
They've got to be sure to not violate any historical aspects of that building.
I think that they need to lower the ceiling, take it down.
Put a nice
Why don't they just tear it down and build a new?
Why don't we build a new jail there?
Build a new justice center.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
So the results out of the meeting was a 5-4 decision to do nothing. They had three choices. They could pass the resolution that the commissioners had put forward. They could say, no, we don't like this, or they could say, we're taking no action. They chose by a 5-4 vote to take no action, so it goes back to the county commissioners, and they will, at their meeting 15 days after that meeting, so 2 weeks from yesterday, they will be hearing that resolution, and we'll see what happens. Yep. And then there was a second part of it that was dealing with process, and they basically decided by 7-2 to go ahead and approve the process that affirms what they're already doing. When and if somebody does try to do a wind development, they have to come before the planning commission and get their commission approved use, is what the term is. Yep. Basically, they have to come to them and ask for permission. So they've solidified the rule they have there. So that is the update on the news of the week in beautiful Henry County, Indiana. How about we spend some time talking to John?
I'd like to do that a little bit. You know, if you are a Patreon subscriber, you get access to the show notes, and right next to John's name on the show notes is the link to his FC Tucker Crossroads profile. So,
yes, sir.
I could pull it up on the website right now and just read it, or I can let you introduce yourself.
As long as we stop talking about Hollister, I'm fine.
We all make bad decisions at some point, man.
That's all right.
Yeah. You had to drive for that. Like, you had to go somewhere.
It was like an hour and 15.
Ooh, man.
It was kind of fun, though.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Like North Side.
Did you have to quit whenever they asked you to stand out there with your shirt off?
Who said I didn't?
Okay.
That doesn't help sell houses now, though.
Well, it might, but
maybe. You don't know. I heard a rumor at the Moreland Fair that there have been people that have picked you as their realtor just based on your picture on your business card. Really? Is that true?
It actually is true, yeah.
Oh, man.
I had a lot of time crafting your image for this business.
I guess so.
Yeah. Trying to get taller, smarter, leaner, all of those things.
Much taller, yeah.
Just foot races against other realtors to see how you do.
I mean, you look at him and you think, well, he can take care of himself, so he's going to take care of me. That's how the sales work in the real estate business. Is what I'm gathering.
What you're looking for.
Yeah. So did you? I think that you must have broken a realtor record in Henry County whenever you sold listener Kirsten Cronk's house.
It was pretty quick. Yeah, we listed it about 3 or 4 in the afternoon. The show notes say an hour. It's a little bit of a stretch, but we wrote that offer about midnight that night, and then had to accept it about 8 a.m. the next day.
Man, so. that is so fast.
Yep.
I love that. And she reached out and was like, she'd posted everywhere on her Facebook, and like everybody, all of us shared it to our personal Facebook pages that her home was for sale, and then like. It seemed like it was just in the blink of an eye. She was like, "Never mind, it's sold.
It's done.
As a
we got it."
home.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's a really nice house.
It was surprisingly close to the BHOL studio.
I didn't realize that. I was driving.
You guys probably shared a mail person.
Yeah, probably. I was driving to somewhere. I think to the Elks Club this past weekend, and it was like, oh, holy crap, that's her house.
There it is. So does that happen every time? Is it?
I wish.
In and out, an hour, and you're set.
Not quite.
No.
What's real estate been like in Newcastle?
It's doing really well right now. There's a lot of buyers. Not quite as much inventory as we'd like, but when things are priced well, they're received really well. Things move pretty quick.
Awesome.
And that's your gig, is figuring out how to price it and where to price it,
Yes,
and what's the thing.
strategy on that right there, is to look at everything, look at all the comparables, and price it right where it needs to be. I typically try to do kind of a pricing strategy. I kind of look like a bullseye type thing. I don't want to price it under where it needs to be, because obviously I'm leaving someone's money on the table at that
Right.
point. But if I price it over it and it just sits there, I mean, this is a generation that's just swiping left and right, looking at pictures, and they're done. So if you hit it on the market and it's too high and someone swipes on past it, they don't want to come back and look at it a week later. They want to see that it's there and priced well and jump on it really quick. So I try to be as accurate as I possibly can. That's always the struggle, is to hit that exact sweet spot, but that's what happened with this case.
So when you're looking at a house, I would imagine, do you do your own photography, or do you bring somebody in to do it?
I do some of my own. There's a couple of things I outsource, but most of my own.
Because that's a big deal too. You're talking about, if you're selling to 25, 30-year-old people, 35-year-old people that have grown up with a cell phone in their hand constantly, they're in the Tinder world. They're just looking at images quickly, and they want high quality pictures that are going to paint the picture for them. So I would imagine that being smart about what you're doing and
really
what you're going
good idea
forward.
for an app, like Tinder for houses.
Tinder for
like
houses.
swipe
I like
left
that.
or swipe
I
right.
like that.
If you swipe right, then you get connected to the realtor.
That's pretty good. I like that.
We got an idea. Yeah, I can make some money off that, I think.
Too bad
no one steal it.
Too bad we announced it on the air. Now it's gone forever.
Yeah, probably.
So let's learn about yourself. You
Sure.
grew up here in town.
I did.
And you were born a realtor.
I was actually born up north near Chicago. My parents lived up there.
I could tell the region accent.
Yeah,
and
you pick that
attitude.
up?
Yeah,
Yeah, Chicago, right?
Yeah.
Chicago and coffee.
You're
yeah.
born eating Al's beef.
So I was born up there near Chicago. Moved back down to this area when I was about 7 years old, and then grown up here in Henry County ever since. So.
All right. And so what got you into real estate?
So I basically love working with people, and I love solving problems. So it's one of those things that I can put this together as a combination and really have a really fulfilling role in the county here, that I can actually help people take the next step where they want to go and kind of work through the problems along the way.
Yeah.
We say solving problems. Like, does Bill Halstead just create problems constantly?
No comment.
It's Mike McCowan. I know it is. I know it's Mike.
No comment.
Bill was my home inspector.
How many times have you been picked over Mike? Are you going to be the next senior
No
guy?
comment.
Well, this is a terrible interview if you were going to throw stones.
Mike told me to make sure that I remind you that he was the first Tucker realtor that came on the show.
True. Very true.
I think he was trying to put you in your place. He feels threatened.
Maybe.
We don't know. So would you describe the housing market right now as booming, or like what's the term that you would use?
I would call the demand booming right now,
Yeah.
but not the inventory. When something comes on the market, it's going to go pretty quick if it's priced well. But getting something on the market is kind of the problem right now. There's not a lot of inventory out there right now.
Yeah, well, we're going through this process right now. We're in a few months we're going to have to be selling this house, and it's like yeah.
At this time, we present you with a business card.
I complimented the man who I already have one of these.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, from another vendor at the Moreland Fair, author Mark Herb Kurzman.
Yes. Good.
And he
was
gave
my
me
neighbor
your
there at the
card.
fair.
Yeah, and we were talking about how interesting the business card is, but that we both really liked that it was
Appreciate
set
that.
in portrait and not landscape.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, but anyway, so I've been watching as things happen and seeing like, there's more houses. There's more houses that have come up for sale. That means that the inventory is going up, and there's not a lot of houses for sale right now. So it's been interesting, but it hasn't really slipped. I mean, we just talked about how fast Kirsten's home sold for. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I think it's Mr. Dave Ramsey, who we both listen to, described it as hot. Real
Very
estate's
true.
hot right now. So it was, and his own projection was that it wouldn't be going down until late in 2020.
Sure.
Yeah.
So what kind of stuff do people look for? If you find a prospective client and you're assuming that they're just looking at the city and any house could be for sale, what makes something desirable around here, and what do they tell you that they want to find in a house? You're trying to solve a puzzle for them, I would imagine.
I am. Yep. So what I do, first thing is I like to sit down with a client and kind of really go through a list, and I've got a form that I fill out and say, okay, what are you looking for? Do you want something on the edge of town? Do you want it to be in town? Do you want it to be in the country with 5 acres? All those factors try to play into it, because And then price comes into it, of course, obviously. If they want something in the country, it's automatically 20, 30,000 more instantly just because the house is in the country with a few acres. So try to take in all those factors and really figure out what they want. And then start the process of booking showings, going through the houses. And that's really one of the most helpful things with it is as we're going through those houses, I'm really getting a feel for who they are and what they want in a house. That way, as I really understand that and I see something come on the market, I'll give them a call and say, hey, you need to come look at this right away. And a lot of times you get them in that house then.
See, Kade, so you could sell your house in the country and then pocket all of the profit that you get and buy my house. I just don't think that Zach next door would really appreciate the gunshots from the gun range.
Yeah, I've got to have a gun range. Is that on your sheet? If you prefer a gun range?
It can be, yeah.
Finding options. So, like, school districts, I imagine, are a big deal,
Absolutely.
too. So somebody says they want to be in the tri-district, that narrows it down. Or if they want to be a Blue River or whatever it is.
Sure, yep. That would definitely narrow it down for sure.
So what do people ask for the most? Like, what are they... What's a no-go? Like, if it has a bad roof, then automatically they're out, or?
I'd say the biggest thing right now is move-in ready. That's kind of the key term. No one wants a project. Everyone wants to come in, look at it, be the perfect house. They don't want any problems with it, and they want to move right in. If it has a little bit of a fixer-upper feel to it, they're not wanting to look at it as much right now.
Right. And when you say fixer-upper, you mean like major projects, or just so like if they have to paint, it's not a big deal. Or
I'm saying
like
even
that.
dated. If it's dated, they're going to call that a fixer-upper because they have to work on the weekend.
Mm-hmm. Something that has a mid-century modern.
They want it to
style.
look like HDTV so they can move straight in, basically.
If it looks like a time capsule, it might be a problem.
Yeah.
Orange shag carpet has to go.
Oh no,
that's the deal.
Wall murals and stuff.
The house that we are.
Some of those are really cool, man. Some of the stuff that's left, especially in this town, the late '60s and early '70s stuff, like Mark Brim. I find old listings all the time, and I'll see stuff and send it to Mark Brim, and we're like, yeah, we love the gold. We love the gold carpet or the green tub or all that stuff.
The felt wallpaper and wood paneling.
Always a nice touch.
I love a basement.
That's coming down.
A basement bar. Like that's like the ultimate.
Yeah, you sent me a picture one time that you would love to have a basement bar with the cedar facade roof over it.
Oh yeah.
No.
I'd be all about it.
That'd be getting torn down.
It's good stuff, man. It's good stuff. Everybody likes something different.
Very true.
So whenever we're talking about the housing market being hot and it booming right now, and just neighborhoods in general, what role do you think that municipalities and local governments have to play in getting things looking nice? Like, is that a big deal that people look at, like how nice the parks are in the area and stuff like that?
Sure, I'd say so. Things like parks, sidewalks, bike trails, that kind of stuff. All of those things definitely have a factor. People like that accessibility, those common amenities like that for sure.
You mentioned bike trails on your profile. It said that you like to bike in Westwood.
I do.
Yeah. I've never biked out there. The trails out there are awesome.
It's a lot of fun.
Dodging horses all the time?
Yeah.
Just don't run through any of their droppings.
Right.
Hopefully they've got a bag somewhere.
We used to, as a kid, we used to ride horses out there. I've never done the mountain biking thing there. I know a lot of people do, though. I mean, Westwood is
a little 10-mile loop. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I live just right around the corner. I need to just see if I can go check it out sometime.
Yeah, we go kayaking out there, but I would love to try mountain biking.
Mm-hmm.
I've never done it a day in my life. So.
Yeah.
Chase Payton and I catch fish out there. Everybody goes to Westwood for something.
Westwood's an awesome
adventure.
place in Henry County. But that's pretty interesting. What are some of the big things that you think that the city or the county could do to keep riding on this growth, to keep the market growing as fast as it has been?
I'm not sure specifically what they can do with it, but I think the whole idea of growing economically and bringing more business in is going to be one of the biggest things with it for housing market too. The fact that if the economy is growing locally, everything's growing with it. So anything they can do to encourage that, I'd say.
Yeah, so we've talked about that before on the show about how I think that both of us, and Jeremiah and myself, have both had the kind of prediction that Newcastle is really one factory or something away from just absolutely exploding.
Yeah, it's doing well.
Yeah, I think that we're in a really healthy place right now, and I think that we're we are going to continue to see the growth because we have a lot of good elected officials that really care about the community.
What's a new buyer? Your typical new buyer? Is it somebody that's relocating into the community? Is it somebody that's coming back to school, or somebody that's buying their second or third house? What's typical? Who are you seeing?
I'm seeing a lot of movement from a smaller house, say, to a bigger one, trying to upsize. There's definitely some push in from Indianapolis area, trying to move over like kind of the south side in the county, though it's kind of a short commute to Indianapolis. A lot of that right now for sure. Yeah, a lot of upsize, a few downsizing from a 2-story home, wanting a 1 level, that kind of thing.
So that's kind of a different customer. If you've got somebody that's in town that knows Newcastle and is like, yeah, I want to live on Bundy. Sure. They know that, versus you've got somebody, say you've got somebody that's coming in that's transferring to a factory, or for some reason they're going to move in from out of state. How do you present Newcastle to them? Do you have certain places you try to bring them to, or certain ways to show them around town, that kind of deal?
No, because I don't want to press any kind of one area on anybody. I want them to let them decide exactly where they want to live. So I'll just take their criteria as far as the size of home, price point, all that, plug all that in, pull up all the homes that fit that criteria, and then literally drive around with them and start taking looks.
Start to get my feel.
Cool. Yep, get a feel for what they want.
So Kelsey Myers is watching, and she's a potential first-time home buyer, and she wants to know if there's any tips for her, the things she should be starting to think about or getting ready for.
Sure. I'd say the very, very first thing right now is to get a hold of a lender, either your local bank or find another lender, and get the process started for a pre-approval. With this market, it's pretty quick as far as a lot of times there's multiple offers on a home, and if that's the case, if one offer is sitting here without a pre-approval and the other ones have pre-approvals, the seller can't take the time to look at that because it's not to their advantage. So you can spend a lot of time looking at a house, fall in love with something, and then not be approved at that point when you try to make the offer, and it really sets yourself up for disappointment. So I'd say the best thing is go and get that pre-approval first, and then give a realtor a call.
Be ready. So even before you call the realtor, have your financing in place and figure out, hey, I'm going to be approved for whatever the value is ahead of time.
Sure. You could always get a hold of a realtor first just to get the conversation started, but definitely get that process rolling with the financing as well.
Yeah. So whenever I was looking for a home in the Greenfield area last year, we didn't have our pre-approval set up because we didn't know when we were going to be moving, and I think there were 2 realtors that we talked to that wouldn't even deal with us then, because it was like, I could go and get pre-approved and that would be fine, but I don't know if I'm even going to be moving until it's going to for like 6 months down the road. Sure. So I didn't want to do it then. So is that something that you like to have done first, or will you also take people that haven't done it yet?
I will definitely take people that haven't yet. I always want to have that conversation very, very early on, though, because I don't want to waste their time with it. If they're going to be going looking for a house, and then by the time they find the one they want, and then they haven't got the pre-approval yet, and it's a multiple offer scenario like that, and they lose out on it. So to be fair to my buyers, I want to get them started as soon as possible so they can
because you don't want them to be disappointed whenever you're working with them.
Right. And then they come to me 2 months later and say, why didn't you tell me to do that first? So
I
don't want to have that conversation then.
Yeah, that makes sense. So there's been talk with some like local council candidates of I know that there was a poll listed by one council candidate of do you think that people like to live where they work or live where they play, meaning like where the activities are. So trying to get a feel for if we need to focus more on economic development or if we need to focus more on expanding things like Westwood.
Are we a bedroom community, or are we, do we have everything here, I guess, right?
Sure. It's an interesting question. It's something I haven't put a lot of thought into yet. From what I've seen so far, I feel like we're a little bit of both. I think we can definitely improve on local amenities as well, local restaurants, all that kind of thing to improve the local lifestyle here. But definitely I have seen that it is a bedroom community with people commuting back and forth to Indianapolis and such.
Right, yeah.
So when you have people that are looking at the area, do you find them, we're talking about people that are moving from out of town, I guess. Do you hear them asking about new development? Hey, are there factories going in here? We've had CAFOs or whatever that could end up in some of the rural areas, or wind farms that, all of these different possible developments. Do you find buyers asking about that and having an effect on what they're doing?
Yeah, I say it definitely does. With that particular issue with the wind farm, of course, we knew it would come up tonight.
We're contractually obligated to ask.
Oh, I know. What I've heard from my clients a lot of times is they want to know what's going on with it. Is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? And
well, John, is it going to happen?
Moving on.
Heck, if anybody knows. Yeah.
And the uncertainty with it has definitely had a negative impact on moving forward with certain purchases. I've had people definitely say, you know what, I don't know what's going to happen with it. I can't make this purchase. So I've definitely seen that impact for sure.
Right, because there are a lot of studies out there, and this is the one thing that the anti-wind people have brought up a lot is property values, and there's a lot of studies about that. So I can definitely see where your buyers are coming from with just. I don't know that, especially out in the county, if they're looking at acreage, So we won't press you too hard on that. I want to know your exact opinion on windmills.
I think the live feed's cutting out here, guys.
I'm not gonna touch it. That third rail is hot. All right. So Dakota likes to start a lot of rumors.
Yeah, that's right.
A year or two ago, he started the rumor that he was going to run for or for city council and take Mark Koger's seat and throw your cousin off the board or whatever. Mm-hmm. And the Koger side of these guys are all related over
Dakota
here.
would somewhat be related too somewhere.
Yeah, right? I think so. Mark,
you might even be closer.
Mark and I talked about that, and I think that I am closer related to Mark than what you are. Yeah, he's closer on my grandfather's side. Yep. But
anyway.
We're all one big family.
You start these rumors that you're going to run for city council, and now you started the rumor last week that you're going to sell this house and move to Spiceland.
Yeah, that's right. So that means I'm gunning for Darren Jacobs' seat. I need to dethrone the socialist out there.
You know, liberate Spiceland.
There's going to be so much freedom in Spiceland. They're not going to know what to do with it.
They're gonna. I heard
chickens for everybody, man. You get a chicken.
Chicken in every pot.
I can be like Vermin Supreme. And everybody gets a chicken and a goat.
A chicken in every pot in every backyard.
And now it's illegal to not brush your teeth. Sorry.
And you have to wear a boot on your head. Anyway, so if you're gonna sell this place, you're gonna try to do like you did last time and just sell it yourself.
Last time I did try to sell it myself. And
Dakota gets a new idea about once a week, and then there's a sign in his yard.
That's how it happens, yeah. But I was gonna have to move for work last year before I got switched back over to Newcastle. I was gonna have to live in around Noblesville, and so I put my house up on the market. I'm like, I'm gonna try to sell it myself. And I had probably 7 or 8 people come through in just a couple months. And I had one offer on the table, and it felt like I was doing good, but I cannot tell you the amount of work that goes into trying to sell your home by yourself, because it's like you get home from work, you have someone that's going to come through and look at your home, and they might not have a realtor. Some of them do, some of them don't. So you have to show them around, and you have to get your house clean. You have to get it ready. You have to, make sure that everything's printed out. Like I had a disclosure form that I had printed out for every potential buyer, and it's just there's a lot of work that goes into it. So I mean, now I'm the chairman of the Libertarian Party of Henry County. I have a once a week at least podcast. I have the bonus content that we put out.
I loved last night's episode, by the way. It was fantastic.
It didn't happen. I was at the fair, man. And so we were. It's like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it again. But now you're on the show, so you have to try to sell me as to why I need to potentially list with a realtor.
How can John make your life easier?
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting you say that. That's actually my goal with real estate, is always that I want to make the process as simple as possible. So what I try to do is I try to take all those headaches from you guys. I try to take the paperwork, I take the pictures, literally I take all those appointments, and I make it so it's as easy as possible for you. You've got a lot of stuff going on, obviously, so my goal is to make it where you don't have to mess with all those details. That's my job, so I don't mind doing it all.
It'll be a little bit different this next time, too, because I won't be living here, so it's not going to be like I have 2 dogs that, get the house muddy and they shed. So it's like I'm not going to have to worry about making sure that it's spotless every time because there's dog hair literally everywhere. But it'll be a lot better because now I won't have to drive to Spiceland to show my house. Someone gives John a call, and he's walking them through it, and that's all I know about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if they come with you, does the Tucker tea cost extra, or do you just throw that in?
Yeah, the Tucker tea's pretty expensive.
We can't do it.
I charge per hour now.
That's an extra percent.
Yeah.
We can't just not do the realtor fees because I had you on the show.
We'll talk about it.
Life is a negotiation, I suppose.
Yeah.
But good luck. I'm told that they're worth every penny. So you've done this social media thing, and you've dressed up, or somebody has dressed up. I don't know if it's like Santa Claus. I don't know if I'm
that was
anything.
me. That was me. Yeah.
But you're dressed up as the foam Tucker tea.
Yep.
And you do parades and videos.
So I don't do the parades. There's another guy that does the parades for us.
You have a stunt tee for that.
Yeah, there's a stunt tee for that. I just do the tours on the tee. Yeah.
You don't do your own stunts.
Now, do you do the voice? Do you do the voice in post, or do you try to talk while you're going?
Oh, I talk the whole time, but I sped it up for my little cartoon voice version.
Nice. You have to check it out. The house, you have a house listed on Parkview right now, and you did that one.
Yep.
Which I went and chatted with John Sunday to get to know him a little bit, and you had an open house over there, and that house is like 95% identical to my house. At some point, we'll have to have you over, and you'll understand why Sarah and I are like, this is like surreal.
This is weird.
Going around, yeah. The stairway is the same, the fireplace in the same spot, the kitchen. There's just minor little differences. Finishes and just flooring and that kind of thing, because the houses were built 50 years ago, so they've changed over time.
Right.
It's the same everything. Very cool.
If people design it to how they want it.
That's it.
Yeah. It's I don't know. I just can't even explain to you how much work it is to try to sell your own home.
So if Dakota were to call you up,
Yep.
and you would come out, and I would assume you come look at the house.
Absolutely.
And have a meeting with them and say, hey, here's the things you should do to get it ready to list? Or do you say, no, it's ready to go right now. We can, here's what we would do.
Is my house ready to go right now?
Well, I'll have to look through it, yeah.
He's seen 3 rooms.
So, I think that, so whenever I was showing my house, the big things obviously were all the utilities. Like I've put in new air conditioning unit, new furnace, new roof, new windows, like everything's been redone. And so that was like the biggest thing, going back to what we were talking about earlier with what people look for inside of a house. You said they like them to be move-in ready right now.
Absolutely.
So appliances like the washer and dryer, refrigerator, stove, are those pretty big deals to people?
They are a lot of times. If they're all included with the home, it makes it really nice. Somebody can come in. If it's like a USDA loan or FHA loan, it's 0% down or 3.5% down. So they can use their cash for their down payment if they need it, and not be going out and buying all new appliances. They can just purchase it with the house.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a selling point for sure.
That's sweet. Well, if anybody's listening, I have a pretty decent refrigerator and brand new stove and brand new washer and dryer.
It's also less that you've got to pick up.
A little piece of me was left behind putting that washer.
I love that washer and dryer though. I guess I gotta leave it because I don't want to have to deal with the pain of leaving them out. Jeremiah doesn't need another hole in his.
I don't want to move it again.
Yeah, you got a hole in your hand.
I took off the back side of my left hand, putting it in there, and I'd probably take the back side of my right hand off, taking it out. Man.
Mike Worrell said, I need to find somebody that's looking for a studio. Yeah, anybody who produces their own music. If you contact me right now, then I'll leave the sound files up.
You'll have a chance to know. So, if somebody's got a house that's not move-in ready yet and they want to sell it, is it worth their time and effort to go through and put the paint on and update the kitchen to get it ready? Or is it better just to just sell it as it is and let them put their finishing touches on it?
That's a discussion I have a lot of times with people. So let's say we go into a house and it's a pretty dated color, and they're going to say, well, let's just list it the way it is and see what it does. So if they're willing to put a little bit of time and effort into it, I like to have it a little bit redone, whether it's painted white or gray, neutral color, and that becomes kind of a blank slate for somebody to come in and they see it as their own. It's a perception game. You walk in the front door, what's it look like? What's it smell like? I mean, the 5 senses with it make a huge difference when you're viewing a home.
You never know when they're going to taste it.
They may. You never know. Maybe not 5 senses.
Does this paint taste like lead? No. Is that what you're talking about?
Maybe he kicks. Maybe I don't know what he does. He may cook brownies or something and put them on the counter.
That could be. Do you stage your homes?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yep.
You put out the fake fruit and stuff.
No.
No, you don't go that far. You don't bake brownies in the oven right before people come over.
You don't have like a garage full of spare furniture that you go put in a house real quick before showing, and then you take it back out.
There was a home that we looked at in the Greenfield area, way out of our price range, but we were like, we're going to go through it anyway.
Let's race to realtor's time.
Well, we weren't with a realtor that time. And he was, we went through it, and a lady had staged this house like, I bet she was there all day the day before, just moving stuff in, and it was like she put a lot of her time and effort into it. And it was like, whenever we went there, we were, I don't know, the only couple that was in that house, and we showed up probably half an hour after the showing started, and we stayed there for a long time because no one else was there, and she just kept talking to us, and I thought, man, we've been here for almost an hour, and she put all this time into this home, and we're the only ones that have shown up.
This is an open house?
Yeah. So it was, I was like, that must be pretty disheartening. Do you get stuff like that?
Yeah, that definitely can happen. So that's why I spend a lot
He just cries on the inside. He doesn't do it.
I do. I hide it well. Yeah.
This lady didn't cry on the outside either. I would have comforted her if she had asked for it, though.
No, so I do a lot of on social media now, just because the days of open houses aren't nearly as effective. I can do a post on Facebook and reach 10,000 people in one evening, whereas an open house, the other day we had about 10 to 12 people through that open house all day, which is actually pretty decent for an open house. So the reach on social media is huge right now.
So and the conversion probably isn't that great on an open house necessarily either. It's something you do, but I mean, you're very just as likely to have somebody see it on Facebook or clicking through, sitting in their own kitchen than they are.
And things like that.
Yep, very true.
Is that just with pictures, or do you do like live walkthroughs?
I do a lot of live walkthroughs. Yeah. So I just have a 360 cam I just got. So I'll walk through with that and do live ones. I'll do 2-minute tours where I post it, where it's all done post-production with it, but going through and actually me physically walking through and showing the home. So I do those a lot, and then I'll do a lot that are more of like detail shots where it's done with video, but just panning different details of the home and put those all together. So I try to keep a pretty wide range of what I do on social media and keep it improving too.
Yeah, your social media has been on fire, man. You've been doing awesome.
Yeah, so you listed a house. We talked about it just before we started the show today on 11th Street in Newcastle, which is it's a house that I remember as a pretty memorable one. It's I think you called it a 4-square or something.
Yeah, 4-square.
And it's got a great front porch and a treated anti-slip front porch. I remember it as a candidate. You remember a lot of different things. You remember every dog you ever ran across, and you remember a lot of front porches. So I saw the listing, and I legitimately remember that house and thought, man, that's a really cool one. But you did the pictures you took of that one were neat. You don't just take a picture straight on. That house has a garage with some ornate doors, and you have a shot that's just off to the side, and there's a little bit of craftsmanship to what you're doing and marketing it.
Absolutely,
catching the eye.
Yep. And when I take the photos, one of the biggest complaints I get about looking at houses online is people don't know what the house feels like, the flow of it. Right. So that's why I like to try to take pictures in such a way that it's each one leads to the next one. So in the one of the living room, you can barely see the dining room, and then the next shot, I'm in the dining room, so you knew that it walked through that way, and then where the kitchen is. So when you get finished with the pictures, my goal is that you can actually know the layout of the home and know what it feels like in there.
You've kind of got it memorized, or you can,
That's the idea of it.
Yeah. So do you think I ought to take all these sound tiles down? And
I think they're awesome. I think you should just embrace them.
Yeah. I think I should try to sell it like this?
Studio space and 2 bedrooms. You can't beat that.
It's called a karaoke room.
You haven't even seen you haven't even seen the basement yet.
Oh yeah, the basement's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's dry.
It's dry. It's adequately lit.
Yeah.
It has a washer and dryer.
It's lit up.
This house comes equipped with 2 washers and dryers, John.
That's awesome.
It's a catch.
It is. It really is.
It's got a full fenced-in backyard.
So the last guy didn't want to move the washer and dryer either. Is that what happened?
Well, that was us.
That was you too.
We moved the washer and dryer in down there, and then we bought the new ones and turned one of the bathrooms into a laundry room. Okay. And it was like,
someday you might get way behind.
I work in the electrical industry, and we deal with a lot of mineral oil, and whenever arcs happen in mineral oil and it burns it, it smells so bad. So whenever you get it on your clothes, you don't want to wash it in your regular washer and dryer. So
Smart. Very
That's where that came from. Yeah.
Have you used it yet?
I used it once.
One time.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't get used a lot, but hey, it's there for the convenience of it.
There you go.
Okay. I have some stats.
All right.
I like talking numbers.
Do you need a drum roll or something?
Yeah, we can
put
do
Kade on the drum roll over there.
Kade, you're right. We do need a drum set in here. But I like talking numbers, John, and there's some pretty interesting numbers that I came across on Dave Ramsey's website that he pulled from the National Association of Realtors, the NAR, not the NRA. But in the month of April, the NAR actually reported record house sales across the nation, which I thought was awesome. So it's not just a regional thing or a state thing that we are experiencing. It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. Absolutely.
Yeah. But Indiana, what they did was they listed, they put a bunch of different maps of the United States, and then they color coded each state. And Indiana was in the very top tier, listed as quote unquote very hot. It's basically one of the top states across the nation for how well the housing market is doing for buyers. Like we were talking about inventory being very low. It's very hot for sellers. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And but Central Indiana broke it down even more. Has a really high demand for houses, a very limited supply, like we were talking about. In 2013, homes were being sold above the asking price 28% of the time, but now that number is at 46%. So I bought my house in 2014 and bought it for above the asking price. So now it seems like for buyers to get a competitive edge on things, they need to be smart about the offers that they put in, because there could be a lot of them.
Absolutely. Yep, and that's one thing, even on the pricing strategy I get into, is it's a seller's market right now, but that doesn't mean you're going to get above and beyond. I mean, we still have to have the house appraised. We're actually seeing some appraisals right now. They're coming back a little bit shy right now. So
because the market's moving faster, what they're willing to pay is moving faster than what the lenders are reflecting.
Yep, so buyers are going in a highest and best situation where there's multiple offers, and they're willing to give above and beyond asking price, but then it comes down to the comparables, and the numbers aren't there with it sometimes. So it becomes kind of a catch-22 on that, because, yes, it's a strong market, but if you price it so high, you're just kind of cutting yourself off later anyway.
So Dakota's numbers here said Indiana's average is between 48 and 60 days, and it's trending down for days on the market. What are you seeing? Do you track Henry County or Newcastle, or what? What do you look at?
I don't have that number on me right now for Henry County as far as the days on market. I mean, they're doing...
The Kronk House obviously threw that way off.
Exactly.
So, yeah, we're down to 12 hours now. Sweet. But, in the U.S., over half of the homes that were sold on the market were on the market for an average of 29 days or less. Yeah. And like Jeremiah said, Indiana is between 48 and 60 days. I mean, that's a pretty short amount of time.
Absolutely. That's good.
It's pretty incredible. And does the time on the market decrease whenever you list with a realtor?
I mean, that's going to definitely depend on the particular house and all that. So I don't know exactly.
Because I felt like whenever I was selling my home by myself, by owner, it seemed like people were more reluctant, I guess, to come and do a walkthrough with me.
Sure.
Just me, a guy that they don't know.
Sure.
Coming to my house and walking through it. Like it seemed like people were, more reluctant.
There's definitely a level of trust there for a buyer to be able to know that they can talk to a realtor and walk in the house and be with that licensed professional rather than.
Yeah, it's kind of like you're shopping on Amazon and you see something that's like fulfilled by a third party, and you're like, I'd rather get the Amazon verified product. You know, like I feel like it's the same way with real estate agents, because it's like, well,
when you have a buyer's agent, when you're working, if somebody goes and says, hey, John, I'm going to buy a house and you're going to take me around, you're working with John every time. Whereas, you don't just necessarily call the person that has the listing and go, talk to 5 or 6 different realtors. At some point, you end up generally hooking up with one, and that's the person you're working with.
Sure. Hopefully that's the goal.
So you've got that relationship there. So you don't have the discomfort you would have had in your situation where they're like, let's go talk to this 20-year-old kid and see what he's got for a house.
Yeah, exactly. So whenever you whenever you have a buyer that you're working with, this is a question that I forgot to ask earlier.
Okay.
But whenever you're working with a buyer and they do come across a house that's for sale by owner, do you still work with them on that? Like, work with the paperwork and contracts and stuff?
Absolutely. As much as the seller is willing to do that, we can do that.
Okay,
so
cool.
If a lot of times the seller doesn't want to work with an agent at all, they just refuse it. And obviously we can't force somebody to work with us at all.
Right.
But
there ought to be a law, John.
typically, I'll go to that seller and talk to them when I have a buyer, and I'd like to be able to represent the buyer on their home, and they're normally very, very agreeable to that because I'm coming alongside and helping them sell their house. So,
cool, awesome. Yeah, I forgot to ask that earlier.
You mentioned different financing options. When I was looking at my house, I tried to look at USDA in the very beginning, and basically they didn't have. I guess it's a government program. It's not always funded. So there were times where USDA just didn't have any money for an area. What are you seeing people doing more often? Is it FHA, which is you put down 3.5%, or is it a conventional where they're just bringing money in and they finance it, or what do you usually see?
I actually do have that statistic right here. So I was just talking with a gentleman the other day about this. I guess he was saying nationally it's about 70% conventional, and I mentioned to him, I said, actually, it's almost reverse here is what I see a lot of times. So I looked it up to get the exact number on it. On the homes that sold in 2018, sold to date right now from January 1, this is just in Henry County residential. Conventional were 52 homes that had sold with the conventional loan. FHA was 34. USDA was, looks like, 58. And then VA was 13. So,
wow, so USDA is huge here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's huge because Newcastle fits into the USDA guidelines. So if you go into Indianapolis or Richmond, they're considered too large to qualify for that loan type. So Newcastle fits right in the middle of it, which opens up a huge opportunity.
We gotta keep this population down so we can
Wow. Yeah. So basically, the USDA is United States Department of Agriculture, and they have basically a program in place that says that in rural areas you don't have to bring any money to the table.
Yep.
It's 100% financing.
Yep.
So you just start
have
paying
closing
property taxes
costs,
right away.
all it is. Yep.
Yeah,
Which are a little bit higher, I guess, than you would have on a conventional.
Say that part again.
Your closing costs are usually a little bit higher.
Yeah, a lot of times if a home's listed, let's say $100,000, and it's a USDA buyer, they don't want to put any money down at all. We'll ask for the seller to pay up to $3,500 for the buyer's closing costs, prepaids, and escrow accounts, so their taxes and insurance, all that.
So they got nothing out of pocket at all.
Right. Yep.
all right. So the prices for homes is like we talked about is increasing. Indiana has seen a 6% growth in prices. Dave Ramsey on his website said that it's probably going to keep climbing until late of 2020. So do you see that happening, or do you think it's leveling out or staying pretty good for people?
How's that crystal ball?
Yeah, exactly.
I want to know I want to know exact numbers.
Exact numbers.
For the year.
I'm going to predict them right now.
For the year 2020. I also want to know who's going to win the presidency in 2020.
Oh, brilliant, yeah.
Yeah.
Something interesting I've been kind of watching are the interest rates, and that definitely changes what someone can afford. Just for a quick, simple number here. So in August of 17, the average interest rate was 3.86%.
Okay.
Whereas right now, the average...
For like a 30-year?
30, yeah, it's all 30-year fixed rate. Right now, it's about 4.6. So it doesn't seem like a lot. That's, 0.74% on interest.
Yeah.
A lot of people are going to go, whatever, doesn't matter. When you actually look at the purchasing power on that, if someone were to get a conventional loan for $150,000 with 20% down, their monthly payment would be around $563. If they want to keep their payment at that exact same amount at the new interest rate at 4.6, that brings their purchase price down to $137 on what they can afford to keep the payment the same. So it's a pretty significant drop. Whereas somebody before wanted to buy a house for $170,000, they're looking in the 150s now. So it's a pretty big difference.
I think that the Federal Reserve announced that they were going to raise interest rates on their side 2 more times in 2018 and then 1 time in 2019. So
it's impressive that the pricing is increasing as much as it is, because you're putting a squeeze on the purchase price as well of people.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I didn't realize that it made that much of an effect. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like a small amount, but amortized over 30 years, it's a big difference. Quickly.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. That was really neat. Huh. Okay, so Oh crap. Yeah. I just ran out of it. I just ran out of numbers. I thought I had one more, but I ran out. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I apologize greatly.
It happens.
I don't know how I'm ever going to recover.
Well, we're just going to let you sit here and stew in your wrongness.
Yep, I guess.
You're struggling, and we're just going to put you on the fence and make you tap dance. Deal with it. Darren Jacobs is sitting in his car laughing right now.
Yeah,
you're wrong, and you're just going to sit there and
Darren Jacobs is one of those guys that I was just talking about that doesn't have Facebook, and I'm irritated about it. Get back on Facebook so that I can bother you, Darren.
We're going to announce a show. We can do it now. Darren's going to come on for for the Brad Brewer's in here. I don't know if you work with Brad on his.
Yeah, I know Brad well. Yep.
Is it in his lending capacity or is
a little bit of everything,
or in his Pokemon capacity? Because that's how I know him. That and the Trump rallies.
Does he wear a MAGA hat everywhere?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I've never seen him without it actually.
Yeah, he's intense.
I love it.
He
Dedicated.
Leads the local chapter. I gave Brad hell the other day because I saw on Facebook he liked the local Republicans, and I'm like, what is wrong with you? And then 2 minutes later, I got him to like our page.
Don't give Betsy Mills all of your support. Send some my way as well, Brad. Come on.
Yeah, that's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. You can watch. You just have to mute it. It's cool, John. Be like Craig Armstrong. We had this echo last week, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. It was because Craig had his phone mark up all the way through.
Was that what it was?
It was. Yeah.
I kept hearing it too.
Yeah. It was Craig.
I was like, do we have the effects on the board?
No, it was set to 0. It wasn't that at all. Huh. It was our guest being difficult. That's all right.
Come on, Craig, man.
So is Brad your favorite place to send somebody for a loan?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. See, now he's loosened up and he's yeah, absolutely. But it was no comment an hour ago.
Yeah, come on.
Nothing.
So now you're loose. How many times do people say I wanted to come to you because I just don't like Mike McCown?
No comment.
Still no comment on that one. Dang.
John's just like, you can go to him for pictures, but if you want to buy a house, come to me.
That's right.
That's it.
That's it. I don't know. The studio that was purchased that we were going to be leasing had his face on the side of it.
Did it really?
Yeah, it did. It was listed by Mr. McCown.
Oh, all right. Nice.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It wasn't listed by John. Dang it, Mike.
I don't know. John might not do commercial work. He might only be residential.
Mainly residential.
Yeah. You are killing it, by the way, in the city of Newcastle.
For sure.
I drive around a lot for my day job around here, and it's like, and that says Jon Kindred. That says Jon Kindred. Yeah, you're doing awesome, man.
It's the Mexican restaurant menus. That's what's doing.
Those get a lot of comments.
Yeah,
they really do.
Really?
Yeah, people feel awkward while they're eating and I'm staring at them, but it's okay.
We need to put our faces in there.
Just looking you right back in the eye, going, "Yeah, you need more chips and salsa.
Get another basket of chips."
Yes, I love it.
They're free.
Yeah. Who doesn't love? Yeah, we should do that, Jer. We need to put our faces in El Chili's menu.
El Chili's menu, or maybe on the Stacks mugs. I mean, there's options.
Yes,
We've got things. You could do things.
You
can get on the menu where the placemats.
We need to get more sponsors of our own in order to afford to sponsor ourselves in places.
It's very complicated.
Yeah,
so many places to spend
money. It's a very
money.
Delicate balance.
So many places to spend money.
It's all right. Oh man, we just got a new banner though. That's some news.
You got a new banner.
It'll
be up in MVP. No, I was trying to make the announcement a second ago that, and I totally got myself sidetracked. Darren Jacobs is going to do the show. It will air in early September. It's 99.9% going to be a pre-recorded episode, but we won't spoil it for you. And there's a good chance that some of the co-hosts, we don't know who, we'll do a coin flip or a short straw, are going to be taste testing some ghost peppers on the air.
Yep, I'm ready for it. I like spicy stuff.
It's gonna be bad radio. It may be really good video, but bad radio.
Johnny, you want to come back for that one?
No, I don't do hot
peppers.
You don't do hot stuff.
Come on.
What's hot to you? Is it like?
I'm talking mild salsa at Los Amigos is too hot for me.
Yeah,
not quite. But
do you put salsa on at Taco Bell?
No,
you don't do anything.
No.
Oh, really?
Really?
No.
I love the
God,
Diablo.
You are white.
The Diablo sauce is the best at Taco Bell. But Kirsten has got she's in the live chat right now. She's got a really good question. She said she's asking how much business do realtors get by just being the first person to respond on a Zillow request?
So Zillow's kind of different on how it works. Sometimes Zillow's set up where it's like a round robin on different agents. So the phone will ring and all of us will get a phone call at the same time. Okay. So I will call out Mike McCown on this one. He's really slow at answering. So he gives me a lot of trouble all the time for that because I always try to beat him on the Zillow calls with it. So it does. I mean, if you're the first one to answer the phone, you're getting that lead.
That's where a lot of people are going is to Zillow, and that I guess they contact people in that way.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of leads coming in from Zillow, Realtor.com, a big one as well.
Yeah, I know. Well, I know regarding Kirsten's question, how I found my realtor in Greenfield whenever I was looking was because of a Zillow request. He was the first person to call me back.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, okay, this is the guy I'm working with now.
Yep.
So, super great guy. I wish I could remember his name to give him a plug. But, that was a year ago. Come on.
Wow. A year in the Greenfield real estate market, that guy's probably living in Boca now. He's retired.
Yeah, probably.
Fat and happy.
It was nuts over there when I was looking. And I was also looking in Pendleton. Man, if this house was in Pendleton, I wish, man, I could get like $200,000 more for this home over there. It's nuts.
Henry County is very affordable, and I'm happy about it. I know that all of our houses would be worth a hell of a lot more money, but you can actually afford to live a very, very high lifestyle. I have friends all over the country, and I show them what we have here, and they're like, "Oh, you gotta be kidding me!" That house you listed today for 144. Yeah. Yep. It's surreal what that would, if that was sitting in Fountain Square in Indianapolis, that's a $250,000, $350,000 house.
I mean, that home is like meticulously maintained. Yeah. 2,000 square feet, 4 bedrooms. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. That's all I kept thinking about whenever I was over there because I gave the guy my budget, and I was like, but I would really like to stay below this number because I think that is the money that I'm going to have, and I can do that without a lot of debt. And he's like, okay. And then he starts showing me these houses. I'm like, these are gut jobs, man. Like, I can move down the road in Newcastle and get one where I just have to slap some paint on, dude. And it was nuts. And like the closer that you got to Noblesville, the higher the prices shot up. It's insane over there.
That's why people are looking over here. I would imagine.
That's exactly right.
I mean, that's why
you have a 40-minute commute and spend $50,000 less on a house pretty easy.
And if we can ever get 3 lanes on I-70, man, I think that's the next big economic development thing for us over here to make that commute better.
I figured it'd be windmills. If we could get windmills, it'd really blow up. What do you think about that, Kade?
It's whatever the community decides.
Yeah. No comment works well too. If you want, I've been using it on that.
I think at this point I could come out and complete fighting against him and still be fought against over it.
Yeah, you could. Yeah.
Well, it's because you're posing, man.
Well, you came out. you came out on the show. You're like, I don't even want abatements, and then you still get harassed at a meeting. Like that's nuts. It's crazy. I just want it all to be over with.
There were a lot more people there that were happy to see us.
That's good. Yeah, I know, you talked to Susan Hoon, didn't you?
Yep.
Sweet. Brad gave you a nice shout out in the chat. He said that you're the absolute best. He said, John is the absolute best realtor.
Absolute best. Thank you, Bradley.
Believe me.
He just wants to get some potholes filled. Am I right?
Yeah. That's exactly what he said.
Man. That's all Kim Kronk's job. Call Kim. He's personally responsible for every pothole.
Yeah. Hey, listen. Kim is the greatest commissioner because he listens to me on Citizens of Henry County. Okay.
We're having some fun tonight.
Yeah, we are. This is a good episode. I like having John on. Maybe we need to make you a permanent fixture over here.
Awesome.
If you sell my house, we can make that work.
All right. We'll negotiate the commission for the pay here.
How much longer are we going to be at the Moreland Fair with the Libertarian Party?
We're going to be there until Saturday.
Okay.
So I'll be out there Saturday night. You can come see
John
me again.
John can come by and take his shirt off and stand out there.
I'll tell you what,
I'm retired from that.
In 2012, Rupert was running for governor with the Libertarians, and he had them lined up about 5 booths down. I don't know if you could attract that kind of a crowd, John, but for the Libertarian Party, I'm willing to try. I won't be there, but Dakota can organize traffic.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we have some other numbers. I think we've beaten the Henry County real estate market down about as far as we can go. But we have some other numbers about how the real estate market and how we were talking about earlier, how it's all intertwined with the local community. But how just the market in real estate affects other parcels of the economy. And I thought that was pretty interesting because I pulled some stats from the Cato Institute, and I pulled some stats from Dave Ramsey. Also pulled some stats from this website called WeForum.
I just want to pause for a second. Your wife says she'll be there if you take your shirt off at the fair.
Ooh,
so we've got one.
So, yeah, the line is formed.
Tell her I'll be home for that later.
Oh, I think she's listening.
That's sweet. Just don't be too loud. My parents have to sleep tonight.
Oh boy.
We discovered earlier that John and my parents are neighbors.
Yep.
Yeah, we should give some context to that.
Yeah,
sure.
Actually.
My dad texted me earlier and
That's
said,
weird without context.
Yeah. My dad texted me earlier and was like, I think that your guest is my neighbor. I was like, yeah, we already talked about that.
Did he notice because he was painting his car up, like going off to semi-state? He was like, off to do the Boss Hog show, and he wrote it on the back of the truck.
Maybe did you go over and talk to him?
I didn't tonight. No.
That's probably because he's not home.
Oh.
Okay, so
back to your numbers.
Back to the other numbers that I had. So like I said, like three different sources I have for these. I don't know much about WeForum, where some of these came from, but it's a .org, and the Libertarian Party of Henry County has a .org site, so it must be pretty good. But they said the Cato Institute said that whenever housing prices double, then market goods are also expected to raise in price, which is about 15 to 20%. So whenever your housing prices double, then 15 to 20% on your groceries, the things you buy at the store. The Midwest right now, like we talked about earlier, has seen a 38% increase, so we're not quite double, but we're getting there. And then I believe the next one came from Cato Institute as well. Whenever market goods, the groceries that you buy at Walmart, Kroger, Aldi, whatever, whenever they rise, they obviously lead into an overall cost of living increase. So other markets, other people in other stores, other markets will look at the prices that grocery stores are setting, what market goods are, and then increase their prices accordingly because that's what they watch. That's kind of our base for other stores. And I'm sure that you guys watch that at the farm stand. Like, how much can we charge for corn and be competitive with Kroger and places people go for?
Yeah, we just offer a superior product and then sell it a little bit cheaper than they can.
Yeah, that's right.
And they have zucchini that's the size
the zucchini
of a leg of a child.
So my mom and dad actually bought some of that zucchini and made some zucchini boats and like filled it with pork sausage and spaghetti sauce, cheese.
Really? That sounds good.
Yeah, and I met him up at the Norris English pub the other weekend, and they had wrapped him in foil and just stuffed him in some wood coal, and they said they were awesome. I didn't get to try them. I'm gonna have to try it though.
We had
those are stuffed peppers. I always like stuffing
I
our
love
peppers
stuffed
too.
peppers.
We took some zucchini from the L&K produce stand, and Sarah shredded it and made we don't do pasta, so we used it as like a pasta bake. So it was meat sauce, zucchini, cheese, and I had it again tonight. Phenomenal.
I fried
And
some.
then to counterbalance the healthy foods,
you've got the donuts.
Another hot commodity we have in stock right now is the blueberry cake donuts.
I know Audrey was.
That's the way you bought your way out of the show the first time.
If you guys have been waiting for those, they're at the stand now.
Audrey was begging me today to ask you to bring some tonight.
Yeah.
And I was like, Audrey, I'm trying to lose weight from Florida. I can't.
I feel the pain because I can't eat them either. I gotta smell them and see them and do all that, and I can't.
Because I knew I couldn't. Like, if you'd brought some and they were sitting downstairs tomorrow morning, I would have just ripped. Yeah, they're so good out there. The blueberry.
Audrey's phone works too. She knows how to get a hold of Kade.
Yeah, that's right.
It's not like you have to ask.
It's like she could have asked Jade at least.
It's also a pretty short drive. I mean, she could always.
Yeah, she can always.
She could have just said something to her mom,
Yeah.
and your mom would have. Her mom would have.
She can grab Dakota's debit card and go spend his money.
She's got one of my credit cards already. Let's not breach into debit card territory. But yeah, so whenever market goods increase, cost of living increases, and then the WeForum.org brought this interesting point up was that the more people that are looking, or the cost of living expenses end up driving more people to look for better jobs in the area that they live in currently, the area that they bought their home for, or that they bought their home in, end up looking for better jobs in that area. And whenever people start looking for better jobs, they're looking for higher pay, better benefits, so that they can keep living in that area that they're in, that ends up creating a nice little competition between employers in the area. So, TS Tech is paying this much, and the guys at Boar's Head see that, so they say, well, we need to raise our prices because we need to raise our wages because we are also looking for employees because people are moving into the area because the housing market's doing well.
Working for a steel fabricator, I can tell you that wages are going up, and they have been going up.
Yeah,
what we're paying and
what
we're having to do to try to attract people to come work, and it's good. It's churning right now, man.
And obviously, wage increases, more people working, more people that aren't going to the Work One offices for their checks anymore. That means more taxes for local governments. For
now.
Well, whenever
till we eliminate government.
Yeah, till we eliminate government. But we did talk about earlier in this episode specifically about the role that local governments play, and whenever local governments have more tax dollars, then obviously they can keep improving on those local parks. They can keep improving on building sidewalks in new areas like they're doing right now in Jeremiah's neck of the woods.
So almost my neck of the woods.
Yeah, but they can keep making those improvements that keep making the area more marketable to people who are looking to move. And that just means that the cycle continues. Because as the area becomes more marketable, more people start looking at it, then more people want to buy houses, and then it just keeps going in a circle. However, one thing that I did see on the Cato Institute's blog was that there was a really good balance that had to be kept in check. Government's not getting arrogant and getting ahead of themselves and trying to do things that they didn't have the money for. One thing that I thought about whenever
we needed that monorail, okay? I don't care what you said. We needed that monorail.
Exactly. But one of the things that I thought about was places like Carmel in Indiana right now. It's insane. Carmel is $880 million in debt. They lost their AAA credit rating.
Wow.
It's hard to do.
Yeah.
That is hard to do as a government.
I mean, I could, if I worked at it a while, I could borrow $880 million, but I don't know if I could get people
No, it's
to keep
hard to
lending
lose your
me.
credit rating. Like the state tries to keep local municipalities in check because they try to keep the businesses coming to the state and keeping things good. Carmel lost that, and it's because they got arrogant because of this cycle. And in step 5 of that, whenever they got more tax dollars, they thought that they were going to keep getting more tax dollars, and they didn't think that they were ever going to stagnate, which they did. And now they're struggling. Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't know it by going through there, obviously. Carmel's a beautiful place. I go there all the time for work. But it's just knowing $880 million. Could you imagine going to a county council meeting, or could you imagine hearing Aaron Dickens say that we were $800 million in debt? Well, I would lose my mind.
They haven't announced the cost of the new youth sports facility yet.
They also haven't announced the cost of the new jail. But, if Ken and Gray gets his way, we'll have a new tax to pay for that.
You done mudslinging?
Yeah, I'm mudslinging on Kenan. We talked to Kenan yesterday at the fair.
Yeah.
He tried to give me a sticker. I said, no, man, unless you put a libertarian bumper sticker on your car.
A trade would have worked.
Yeah.
I was like, you can
put this libertarian bumper sticker on your car, and then I will put it on my shirt that I'm only going to wear tonight. That sounds fair to me.
Oh, well. John has no interest in your conversation at all. He's tuned out.
He's not even talking to me anymore.
Because Democrats, Libertarians, and Republicans all buy houses, and it's just not safe. And independents.
I'm here to make friends.
And devout socialists. Right. They all need houses and realtors.
Just as long as you never sell a house to Darren Jacobs, I'm okay. No, I'm just joking.
So here's a quick question.
You can sell Darren my house.
As far as the president goes, has there been anything that our current president has done in the last couple of years to help with the housing market?
I think economically, as things are improving, that's also having a trickle-down effect on housing. One thing I saw during the election actually was kind of interesting on housing and interest rates and all that. Interest rates were extremely low right then, so we had a ton of just rush. In 2016, from November, December, January, February, had record months for our company in sales. Everybody was just rushing, buying houses as fast as possible while the rates were so low. And then that's part of it, in my opinion, nationwide, we've had this shortage now, is they all got purchased up then pretty much. And we've been in a slow incline back, building inventory
cash
back.
for clunkers.
Same deal.
Hi, I'm Monica Peck.
they played with the market and took the inventory away, and now that's caused everybody to have to find something, or it's created a shortage.
Yep.
You don't mess with
the only
supply and
question
demand.
then would be is if it's a boom or a bubble, right?
Right. Yeah. Well,
a lot of the bubble was people and I don't know if you see this yet or not, but people borrowing beyond what the house is worth. You see the 100% loans, but you don't see the 105 or 110% stuff that you had a decade ago.
Sure.
Yeah, that's what creates your bubble in anything really, is it not having the foundation underneath it to support it, and then it pops.
Yep.
And I think that right now with the steady growth that we've seen, it's been very healthy. And it's hard to call it a bubble, but it's hard to look at it and see how good things are going and not be suspicious. You know what I mean? Like that.
That's kind of what I was getting at too. Is looking at it from, I really don't have a whole lot of experience in it, but looking at it from where I'm at, that's it looks great, but you kind of have to question it a little bit.
Exactly.
The important thing is that you have a lot of different employers involved. Newcastle and Henry County took a big beating when you lost 2 or 3 key employers, huge factories that were the backbone of the payroll for the community.
Yeah.
When Chrysler and Modern Fold went away, and Sheffield or Allegheny went away, those 3 alone.
Grady downsized.
And Grady, other companies getting smaller. That downturn takes a tremendous amount of payroll out of the community, which then hurts the ancillary, it hurts the realtors, it hurts the barbers, it hurts the Pizza Kings of the world. All of those businesses suffer because you don't have the manufacturing base that Central India is based on. Yeah, I can't. I mean, I can't imagine how strong the economy must have been when Chrysler were here. There may have been 7 or 8 Pizza Kings in town. I don't know.
Yeah, it would have been. I don't know. I always think about that, and you think of there's definitely whenever you come to Henry County, Newcastle for sure, there's this overwhelming sense of nostalgia for how things used to be. And you listen to political candidates that are running for office right now, and a lot of them try to feed on that nostalgia. And it's like, listen, man, there's never been a better time to be a human on the face of the earth. We are living in the golden age of literally everything.
We live in the age now of Kreider's onion rings and the internet. We have both.
I saw some complaints about Kreider's. I went to Kreider's this past weekend, and I got some pulled pork and the mac and cheese that had jalapenos in it. Oh, man. The pulled pork was amazing.
Good stuff, man.
I love that place.
Good stuff.
Had to plug it in. But it's going to cost you at least $600 for me to plug that again.
So we are getting to that time in the show where we probably ought to get to final thoughts. John, you've been a great guest for us.
Appreciate that. Appreciate having me here.
What kind of, if people want to follow you, learn about you, anything else you want to share? But
I'll try to zoom in on this.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, I do also want to take an opportunity. So my wife and I are both really involved with our church. We go down to the Community Bible Church it's just south of Cambridge City. One thing we're doing coming up here is it's called a community day. It is August 25th from
you hold that up,
11 to 3. Oh, you can zoom in on there?
Yeah.
I just screenshotted this off of Facebook, so.
Yeah.
We've got the graphics. So if you're watching the live cam, John he brought his own infographic.
Yeah, here we go. So what this event is, I've went to different churches, and sometimes you walk in, it feels awkward, and you don't know the place, things like that, and I don't like that feeling. So this event is all about is allowing people to come in, see who we are, allow us to meet them, get to know them, and feel comfortable there. So if they want to come back to church and visit, they're completely welcome anytime. I was talking to a guy about that the other day. He's like, I don't have any church clothes. We don't wear church clothes there. We have farmers and everybody there, contractors. There's one guy that wears bib overalls every Sunday morning. It's not about dress or anything like that. So we just want you to come. So I just want to invite everybody to that as well for your listeners.
Sweet.
Very cool. And what was the name of the church?
It's a Community Bible Church. It's at 4141 Nickel Plate Road, Milton, Indiana.
Milton,
Indiana.
We know Milton well.
Yeah, I know.
That's on the way to Liberty.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you ever go to the what is it? RJ's, the pizza?
I've been there before. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they got really good pizza there.
Yep.
So, and if people want to look at one of the houses you've got, if they're ready to sell their house, if they want to just talk about stuff, how do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so give me a call or text directly. It's pretty easy. Number is 765-465-9409. Or you can follow on Facebook. We have a page called the Taylor Team. So me and Kara Taylor work together quite a bit on getting things sold. So you can go in there and follow it. Instagram, same there as well. So absolutely.
All right. And then do you have any more days out at the Moreland Fair?
I'm done with
You're
that
done?
now,
I am
actually.
too. Dakota's going out again this weekend, but I've got other stuff.
I'll be in and out Saturday. I found out, my dad's got a birthday party Saturday, so.
I might come over and say hi to him then. Happy birthday.
Okay.
There you go.
I think I'm going to go Saturday morning and run that 5K.
You are. So this is a big announcement.
Yeah, Nate Lamar invited me to come out and run it, so I figured I would.
Is Nate going to be wearing his classic Nate Lamar county council shirt?
He might be. Yeah.
I hope so.
Have to show up and find out.
Nate's a great dude. I just saw him the other day, and I don't know. I just love talking to Nate. He's a really good guy.
So you've taken up distance running amongst the jiu-jitsu and you had your first competitive event.
Yeah, last weekend.
And you nearly killed a guy.
No, it wasn't that bad.
You dropped the man on his head.
It was my first competition. I've only really been training for about a year, but I went and tried it out.
A year longer than we've trained.
I had one other guy in my weight class, so I only had one match, and it went 2.5 minutes or so. Ended up, I made a mistake. He ended up on top in an arm bar, and I tapped. So,
quitter.
In jiu-jitsu, it's just one of those things, man. You don't lose, you just learn.
So whenever I took Bushido, and for a few years, and I got second place in the state for bow staff fighting.
Yeah.
So maybe one day we can have a pay-per-view on the Boss Hog of Liberty.
That'd be awesome.
The first round will be. You have to pick. We talked about this in the group chat. Which one of the Lightfoots do you want to arm wrestle?
That's a tough choice. That's a tough choice.
Brady
it's not a tough choice.
I'll take Scott.
Have you? You're gonna take Scott?
Yeah, why not?
Have you seen the pictures he's been posting on Facebook?
He's been hitting the gym.
He's been hitting the gym hard, man.
So the undercard will be John and Scott arm wrestling, and then the main event will be Kade and Dakota.
Only if I get to use the bow.
And Brad says John ran an Ironman.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's a Ironman 70.3 in Miami.
So you ran an Ironman. It also means you swam and biked an Ironman. You did them all.
Yeah, do you have the Ironman tattoo somewhere?
I don't actually.
It's one of my goals in life to run an Ironman and get the Ironman tattoo.
I would have to done like half of the M because it was only half an Ironman, so that would have been kind of lame.
So you did. It's like the 13.1.
Yeah.
So you did the Ironman. Was Tony Kanaan in it in Miami?
I don't know.
The IndyCar driver?
I don't know. Maybe.
He's got Cambridge City roots.
Really?
His wife is Lauren Bolander, who is from Cambridge, and her parents are the people that run Poor Jack.
How do you know this much about an IndyCar driver?
He's so full of knowledge when it comes
to
that.
So this is I literally walk out of the Moreland Fair last night and I point out to Sarah one of the rides or whatever's got all these IndyCars on it. I'm like, that's why. that's why the background's all the IndyCars.
We had an episode.
You know who their home builder
before
is?
The
Incredible Rex Bell.
Before the Indy 500, we had Mike McCown on.
Yeah.
And
I remember that.
These two guys and my neighbor Zach Bertram who's also a huge IndyCar fan.
Zach should be listed when you sell your house. Zach should be listed as one of the things that come with the house. World's greatest neighbor. He'll look after things for you.
You know, some. Whenever I tried to sell it the first time, some people were asking about the neighbors, and I was like, people across the street and next door keep to themselves. This guy over here, man, though, he's rowdy. You gotta watch him. No, Zach's a good neighbor. Every time that I'm out of town, he's like, hey man, a car just pulled up in front of your house. Just want to let you know, it's a white Malibu, and I'm like, that's my mom, dude. Thanks for checking in on me, though. I appreciate it.
It's okay. So you in the last week have started running these long distance races or long distance training. You ran around Baker Park.
It's been
like 3
months.
times.
It's been a few months in the making. I mean, I started at.
Let's make it sound more heroic. You started Monday and you're going to run a 5K
making
Saturday.
a half mile, and then finally made a mile, and then I worked up to 2.5, and then I was like, well, let's try. The other night I thought, well, let's try a 5K.
That's 3.1.
Yeah.
Right? 3.1 miles.
Yep. So I went out and tried it, got there, and was like, man, I'm going to keep going.
Tuesday we learned about so much about
farther
metric
than a 5K,
English.
right?
Yeah, I made 5 miles. So
yeah, that's awesome. And you kept up
500 meters is 1,627 feet, but 1,500 feet is less than 500 meters.
roughly a 10-minute pace.
Yeah, it was
right?
like a 10-minute pace.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude.
Yep.
Good for you, man. Yeah, you got me into running.
Yeah.
I was like,
I'm going to go after the show. I'll be out here running around the park after the show. So if anyone's listening and they want a running partner,
I might join you, man.
I'm going home.
I don't know. So I started running after seeing you and, of course, Zach next door, who runs religiously as well.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Maybe there's something to it. And I ran Monday, Tuesday, and then yesterday I worked out while I was at work.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, I've ran on treadmills for like the past year and a half, like a mile at a time. And it's whatever.
Yeah.
But, dude, from running outside
I'm not
2
looking
miles,
forward to wintertime.
Yeah, running outside the past 2 days.
I think I'm going to brave it and run in the snow.
That's what Zach does, man.
Yeah.
He didn't wear a pair of actual long pants during the winter.
Yeah.
This entire winter.
Yeah.
He wore shorts the whole time. But my legs,
The frostbite is just going away.
yeah, my legs are so much more sore
Yeah.
from running outside than what they are on a treadmill.
Mhm.
It's been incredible.
Yeah.
And I don't know. There's something about it.
I never thought that I would be the person that would enjoy running, because I always remembered in high school when you had to run the mile, it was like, oh, I'm dreading this. I don't want to do this. But now that I've like forced myself to go for a few months, I actually look forward to it. And I even find myself driving around and I'll see something and be like, oh, that'd be a great running route. You know what I mean? It's so weird. I never thought I'd be like that, but I am.
I ran around Jeremiah's neighborhood the other day, and I was like obsessively looking at it at work, trying to figure out how I can make it 2 miles.
I'm driving around in my truck looking at my trip, like seeing how long this route is going to be, you know?
That's awesome. If you run from here and then around Baker Park and come back, it's almost exactly 2 miles.
Yeah.
So there you go, man. You just
this mysterious location.
I'll let you change your clothes.
Just take off from here.
Somewhere north of Q Avenue. All right. So you guys can go make your signs and watch Kade at the Moreland Fair. It'll be Brad Brewer says he just ran to McDonald's, so he's out.
Hopefully wearing the MAGA hat.
Yeah, he ran to McDonald's. I thought he was in Wayne County and over in Hagerstown. They don't have. Maybe he went down to 70 and 1. Yeah.
Yep.
I guess that's the spot. That's the closest one. I know my McDonald's, man. I know that I-70 route. Being in Ohio all the time. I know my way. Final thoughts, Dakota. What do you got for me?
Oh, let's see. Final thoughts. My mom, she just popped into the chat and she's accusing me of not wishing my dad a happy birthday. Did I not just say it's his birthday?
You called it out.
Yeah, so.
Happy birthday, Jeff.
Exactly. She's also saying hi to her neighbor.
Hi, neighbor.
But yeah, this is a good episode. John, I really appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely, it's been great. Appreciate the opportunity, guys.
Hopefully we haven't ruined your career.
No, it's been. We'll find out, I guess.
So yeah, I always appreciate people like you coming on that are specific experts in a specific field, because that means that while I'm writing the show notes and preparing for the show, I get to look things up and get to learn more.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
you get to invent your own facts.
Yeah.
Mitchell Halcomb took a serious objection to your CAFO facts.
Yeah, I don't know.
Last time.
I don't. But you never explained to me what.
I followed up later.
Okay.
He said that you were using national stuff and not Indiana state specifics. So
come on, man.
Hone your skills. Get local. You got to super serve the locals.
I looked up what classifies a CAFO versus a CFO. I think is what it is, or CAO something. I don't know. I looked up what the difference was, and that was the Google definition. So
there you go.
Yeah.
All right.
Whatever. But anyway, so I will be at the Moreland Fair on Saturday.
You're not going to run the 5K though.
I'm not going to run the 5K. I'm not at that point yet. I've ran like 3.8 miles in just this week, and my legs are still sore today.
Mm-hmm.
The last time
I'll have to send you. I've got another Jeff Watterson. You know him?
I don't know him.
He's big into running too. He sent me a video link the other day of like a stretching workout to do before runs. I'll have to send that to you.
I really do need that. So. Yeah.
The last time I lost a significant amount of weight, I almost did the 4-H Clover 5K, and instead I just I got recruited. They were short on volunteers, so I got recruited to kind of oversee a corner. And a guy, I think he was a tri-high runner. It could have been John. I don't know. A guy ran it in a cow costume and won.
Nice.
And he made the cover of the Courier Times.
I wonder if I could do it in Tucker T.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I've seen a mascot win before. So if you don't have much going on Saturday morning, you could enter the Moreland 5K.
Are you gonna run the 5K?
T.
I'm not actually. No.
Oh, come on, John.
Get that Tucker T out and see what happens. Can you imagine the headlines?
Be awesome. Tucker T falls down.
Tucker T, we'll cover that story and nothing else.
Yeah, we will definitely talk about it, whatever happens.
The steps at that house the other day, walking up those steps in the Tucker T was the most frightening thing ever. So you can't see down at all.
The stairway, it's just like my house, Dakota, where you've got a rotating stairway going up, and you've got a solid rock wall that is your barrier. But it's only about 2'6" off the stairs, if that. So
it's not much of a handrail.
No, it's not much of a handrail. It would have been a great video. It would have gone viral had you gone over. It would have gone viral.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, anyway, my last final thoughts is I'll be at the Moreland Fair as the chairman of the Libertarian Party of Henry County on Saturday. I'll be in and out, going from Liberty and back. I definitely want to make it to the pub again this weekend. It's my weekend ritual. I have to go see. I have to go to the pub. But anyway,
signs you're an alcoholic. Right there.
Or you just really love cottage pies.
To go to pub. All right.
But yeah, I'll be out there at the Moreland Fair. I have brand new business cards. I have some Boss Hog of Liberty pins too. So, yeah, I'll be out there. Come and make sure you see me.
Very cool. Well, we are starting to get into. Brad Brewer says that Tucker T would definitely chafe, so you'd have to take some precautions. I am starting to put my candidate hat back on. Over the next couple weeks, you'll start to see us getting more active in the campaign. We did make an appearance last night in Moreland, and I guess we had 2 campaign events this week. If you are interested in helping out with the campaign, we are taking donations over there on the Facebook page. There's a link. Jeremiah Morrill candidate. If you are interested in yard signs, walking, working, or helping on the campaign, just hit me up, and we've got some opportunities, so we'll have some fun. With that, I thank everybody for listening, and we got a show booked for next week. Who's coming on?
I got so many things. I'm already preparing. I'm already preparing for the Steve Horwitz episode because
you know who's next week?
Who's next week?
It's the legendary Rob Kendall of WIBC.
Man, old Trump Rob.
Yeah.
I don't know. Me and him are going to have to get into it because I'm going to put Rob on the spot because he still has not secured a meeting with Governor Holcomb, but we have had 2 elected state officials in our studio.
Man, well, I know he's very close with Senator Jim Merritt.
Yep. You were on his show.
I was on Rob's show last week. Yeah, it aired Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah, if
big timed it.
You can go back to the Boss Hog of Liberty feed and listen to Jeremiah. You did a great job on there. But
my dentist, I don't think he had any idea that of me on Facebook. He's like, I heard you on WIBC this weekend. I was like, yeah, I was on.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Dr. Trout up in Muncie.
But yeah, looking forward to having Rob on. But I'm already preparing for the Steve Horwitz episode because
don't look past Rob, man. He's a big deal. He's a big get. You should be happy.
Lion Rob.
I bet he calls me Lion Jeer 10 times.
I know. That's why I had to say that.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, looking forward to that. We'll catch you all next week.